Good morning, everyone. Merry Christmas and happy holidays. I hope everyone had an opportunity to enjoy time with family and friends. Today, I'd like to talk to you about the FLR blockchain. Right now, there's 130 billion worth of XRP sitting dormant, not earning yield, not participating in DeFi, just simply waiting. While everyone's been obsessing over Bitcoin ETFs and meme coins, something massive just happened that could unlock it all. On December 3rd of 2025, for the first time in XRP's history, holders could finally stake their tokens and earn a yield. And they can do all of that without selling, without wrapping, without sketchy bridges, or anything of that nature. The protocol that made it possible is FLR Network. And if you haven't heard of it yet, you're exactly where Wall Street wants you to be. So let me tell you about a blockchain that has been operating in stealth mode while everyone else was fighting for headlines. FLR Network launched July of 2023, and it wasn't until 2025 that the pieces really started coming together. And here's what makes FLR fundamentally different. It's not trying to be another Ethereum killer. It's not competing with Solana on speed, or instead, FLR built something that no one else could, a blockchain that can trustlessly verify the state of other blockchains and bring that data on chain. Think about that for a second. While most bridges and oracles rely on trust, some middleman saying yes, that a transaction happened on Bitcoin, or yes, XRP moved, FLR's state connector actually proves it mathematically. There's no trust required. And this isn't theoretical anymore. As of December 2025, FLR's total value locked hit 155 million. That's a 160% increase in just a few months. But here's the crazy part. That's still basically zero compared to what it could capture if even 1% of XRP's 130 billion market cap. Okay, here's where things get a little interesting. On December 3rd of 2025, Firelight Protocol went live on FLR's mainnet. And for the first time, XRP holders can actually stake their tokens and earn a yield. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so what? Ethereum has had staking forever. But here's what makes Firelight different. When you stake XRP through Firelight, you're not just earning yield, you're providing economic security for DeFi protocols on FLR. You can think of it like insurance. Protocols can basically buy coverage from the staked XRP pool. If there's a hack or an exploit, the staker's capital backs the insurance payout. In return, stakers earn fees. It's like being a decentralized insurance company, except your capital is working 24/7 and you're earning actual yield on an asset that historically just sat there. Here's the ticker though. Vivo Capital, or Vivo Power, a publicly traded company, they committed 100 million in XRP to this exact strategy. That's not retail, that's not degen, yield farmers, that's institutional capital recognizing that XRP can finally compete with traditional yield instruments. All right, here's where we separate the tourist from the residents. Let's talk about the state connector. Flare's actual innovation that no one seems to really understand. Think about how most cross-chain bridges work. You lock Bitcoin on one chain, some oracle or multi-sig says, yep, we saw that transaction, and then wrapped Bitcoin gets minted on Ethereum. The problem, you're trusting the oracle, you're trusting the multi-sig, and when those fail, Ronin Bridge, wormhole, you name it, billions of dollars disappear. Flare's state connector is different. It doesn't ask, did someone say this happened? It asks, can we prove this happened? It's using a cryptographic attestation from independent validators. The state connector then verifies the actual state of external blockchains, Bitcoin, XRP Ledger, Dogecoin, you name it. And here's the genius part. Flare can prove these states on chain. Developers can build smart contracts that react to real world events without trusting any intermediary. Want to trigger a payment when Bitcoin hits a certain block height? It's done. Want to verify an XRP transaction happen before executing a trade? Done. This isn't theoretical. This is live right now. Okay. Let's talk about FAssets. FAssets went live in September of 2025. Right now, you can mint FXRP, FBTC, and FDOGE. And yes, those are representations of XRP, Bitcoin, and Dogecoin on Flare. But here's what makes the difference from a wrapped Bitcoin or any other bridge token. When you mint an F asset, you're not trusting some company to hold your real asset. Instead, independent agents, think of them like collateral providers. They lock up 1.3x or 2x the value in FLR as insurance. If they try to steal your real XRP or Bitcoin, their collateral gets slashed. The state connector verifies everything. There's no middleman, no trust required. And get this, the FAssets version 1.1, I believe, has received an upgrade, introducing Core Vault, which enables direct redemptions, more scalable XRP minting. The system is becoming more capital efficient, which means lower cost to bridge assets, higher yields for participants. Okay, let's talk about the Oracle system that quietly is outperforming most of its competition. The Flare Time Series Oracle, FTSO for short. Here's how it works. Right now, there are over 90 data providers competing to submit accurate price feeds every 2 seconds, you'd say. These aren't centralized API providers. They're independent entities with skin in the game. Here's what they do. If they provide bad data, they lose their delegation and their rewards. And here's the kicker. 73% of FLR tokens are currently staked or delegated to FTSO providers. That's not just participation, that's conviction. That's the entire network saying, we trust this system enough to lock up our capital. Now, let's compare that to Chainlink, right? Where node operators are paid regardless of data accuracy. or Pyth, where the data quality depends on centralized exchanges. FTSO is much different. It's built into the protocol, secured by the network's economic weight. You also have the FIP 13 that I believe has introduced custom feeds. Developers can now request specific data types beyond just price feeds. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room, tokenomics. Because everyone wants to know, is this just another high inflation shitcoin? Here's the reality. FLR has 100 billion total supply. That sounds massive, but 58% of that went to the community, primarily through the largest airdrop in crypto history to XRP holders. And here's what is very critical. 73% of circulating FLR is currently staked or delegated. Think about what that means. 3/4 of the supply is locked in productive use, either securing FTSO Oracle, participating in governance, or just earning rewards. That's not speculative tokens sitting on an exchange waiting to dump. That's capital being put to work. Am I wrong? On inflation, there is a 5% annual inflation rate, but it's capped at 5 billion tokens per year, regardless of how much the supply is in circulation. The inflation funds the ecosystem development and rewards. It's not a pump and dump. Now, here's a story that really gets interesting and why I think most people are sleeping on this. In June of 2025, Vivo Power, a publicly traded company on the NASDAQ, signed a definitive strategic partnership with Flare to deploy 100 million in XRP for institutional yield. Not 100,000, not 1 million, 100 million. Then in August, the Everything Blockchain Incorporated, another US listed public company, joined Flare's XRP-Fi standard for treasury yield. These aren't crypto native hedge funds or VCs. These are just basically traditional companies with boards, shareholders, compliance departments making strategic allocation of XRP DeFi. Now, here's where I'm going to make the connection. This is the exact same pattern we saw with MicroStrategy and Bitcoin in 2020. One public company commits, then another. Then suddenly, every CFO is asking their team, why aren't we earning yield on our treasury? That's the adoption curve where we're witnessing right now. We're still in the early stages, obviously, pre-FOMO, and most people really aren't paying attention. Okay. Right now, if you're an XRP holder and you want to participate in DeFi, you have to create a MetaMask wallet, bridge your XRP to a wrapped token, figure out gas fee, hope the bridge doesn't get hacked. It's a nightmare. And that's why most XRP holders just are simply holding or they don't participate. Now, smart accounts is going to change that completely. It's basically an account abstraction built into Flare. XRP holders can interact with Flare's DeFi directly from their native XRPL wallets. There's no bridging, there's no wrapped tokens, no complicated setup. The integration happens on the Zaman wallet, which has over, I think, 500K XRP users. It's tentatively scheduled for December 2025. So imagine waking up one day, opening your XRP wallet, and suddenly you have access to lending, staking, yield farming without changing a single thing about how you custody your asset. Now that is incremental improvement. That's a paradigm shift. Okay. Right now, Flare's value proposition is bringing non-smart contract assets, XRP, Bitcoin, DOGE, into the DeFi ecosystem. But Layer Cake expands that vision to include smart contract platforms on Ethereum, Solana, Cosmos, and potentially more. The goal here, it makes Flare the central liquidity hub for all blockchain ecosystems. Imagine being able to execute a trade that pulls liquidity from Ethereum, routes through Flare's FAssets, and settles on Solana, all in one transaction. Trustlessly verified by Flare's state connector. Now, Layer Cake is still in development. The launch is tentatively in 2026. But here's why that matters. If Flare becomes the interoperability layer for the entire multi-chain ecosystem, its current 155 million total value lock becomes a rounding area. We're talking potential of tens of billions in liquidity flowing through that network, and that's hyperbolic. That's not math. All right? Okay. A few more things to talk about. Hugo Philion, Flare's co-founder and CEO, has been building in this space since before the ICO boom. His thesis from day one was simple. Blockchain needs data, not just price feeds, but provable, trustless data from other blockchains. While everyone else was launching DeFi protocols and NFT marketplaces, Hugo's team spent years building the infrastructure to make that possible. In a recent interview at the XRPL Apex conference, we've seen many YouTube videos, Hugo says something that stuck with me. Most people think we're competing with Chainlink. We're not. Chainlink brings real world data on chain. We bring blockchain data on chain. Completely different problems. Looking at that kind of track record, State Connector launched. FTSO is live with 90 plus providers. FAssets is on mainnet. Firelight just launched. Smart accounts are coming in December. This team ships. There's no hype. There's no token pumps. They simply are building, and in a space full of vaporware and exit scams, that execution track record might be the most undervalued asset in crypto right now. Flare just unlocked XRP staking through Firelight. FAssets, again, they're live for Bitcoin, XRP, and DOGE. The state connector is providing trustless blockchain data. Institutional players are committing 100 plus millions of dollars. Smart contracts are launching this month. We've got Layer Cake coming in 2026. I hope that you enjoyed this session. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas to you all.